Hare Hari. जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपीजन वल्लभ जय गिरिवर धरी यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन यमुना तीरावनचारी यमुना तीरावनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राधा वृंदावन चंद्र राधा वृंदावन चंद्र राधे जय राधे जय राधे जय राधे जय श्री राधे जय वृंदावन धाम वृंदावन धाम वृंदावन धाम जय वृंदावन धाम जय निताय गौरंग जय निताय गौरंग निताय गौरंग जय निताय गौरंग जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे जय राधा वृंदावन चंद्र राधे जय राधे जय श्री राधे জয় নিতাই গৌরাঙ্গ নিতাই গৌরাঙ্গ নিতাই গৌরাঙ্গ জয় নিতাই গৌরাঙ্গ। জয় জয় প্রভুপাদ 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 প্রভুপাদ।
जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर शत श्रीमद हिज डिवाइन ग्रेस अभय चरणारविंद भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी शील प्रभुपाद की जय। इस्कॉन संस्थापकाचार्य सेवियर ऑफ द होल वर्ल्ड शील प्रभुपाद की जय। ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय। निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। So today we will be discussing from the canto, first canto, third chapter, text number 5. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तम श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी। एतत् नाना अवताराणाम् एतन्नानावताराणाम् निधानम् बीजम् अव्ययम् निधानं बीजम् अव्ययम् यस्य सृज्यन्ते यस्यां शांशेन सृज्यन्ते यस्यां शांशेन सृज्यन्ते देव तिर्यक् नर आदयः देवतिर्यन्नरादयः एतन्नानावताराणाम् निधानं बीजमव्ययम् यस्यां शांशेन सृज्यन्ते देवतिर्यन्नरादयः एतन्नानावताराणाम् निधानं बीजमव्ययम् यस्यां शांशेन सृज्यन्ते देवतिर्यन्नरादयः एतान्नानावताराणाम् निधानं बीजमव्ययम् यस्यां शांशेन सृज्यन्ते देवतिर्यन्नरादयः एतन्नानावताराणाम् निधानं बीजमव्ययम् यस्यां शांशेन सृज्यन्ते देवतिर्यन्नरादयः एतन्नानावताराणाम् निधानं बीजमव्ययम् यस्यां शांशेन सृज्यन्ते देवतिर्यन्नरादयः. Mataji, anybody? Mataji, want to chant? एतन्नानावताराणां निधानं बीजमव्ययम् यस्यां शांशेन सृज्यन्ते देवतिर्यन्नरादयः. Word to word translation. Etat, this form. Nana, multifarious. Avataranam, of the incarnations. Nidhanam, source. Bijam, seed. Avyayam, indestructible. Yasya, whose. Amsha, plenary portion. Amshena, part of the plenary portion. Srijjante, create. Deva, demigods. Tiryak, animals. Nara Adayaha, human beings and others. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Abhay Charanarvinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Jai Srila Prabhupada. Translation. This form, the second manifestation of the Purusha, is the source and indestructible seed of multifarious incarnations within the universe. From the particles and portions of this form, different living entities like demigods, men, and others are created. Translation with repetition. This form, the second manifestation of the Purusha, is the source and indestructible seed of multifarious incarnations within the universe. From the particles and portions of this form, different living entities like demigods, men, and others are created. Purport. The Purusha, after creating innumerable universes in the Mahat Tattva, this purport is long, so it will take some time to read. It's almost 1, 2, 3 pages almost. It's a huge purport. So anyways, we will be reading this. The Purusha, after creating innumerable universes in the Mahat Tattva, entered in each of them as the second Purusha, Garbhodakashayi Vishnu. When he saw that within the universe there was only darkness and space without a resting place, he filled half of the universe with water from his own perspiration and laid himself down on the same water. The water is called Garbhodaka. Then from his navel the stem of the lotus flower sprouted, and on the flower petals the birth of Brahma, or the master engineer of the universal plan, took place. Brahma became the engineer of the universe, and Lord himself took charge of the maintenance of the universe as Vishnu. Brahma was generated from Rajoguna of Prakriti, or the mode of passion in nature, and Vishnu became the Lord of the mode of goodness. Vishnu, being transcendental to all the modes, is always aloof from materialistic affection. This has already been explained. From Brahma, there is Rudra, Shiva, who is in charge of the mode of ignorance or darkness. He destroys the whole creation by the will of the Lord. Therefore, all three, namely Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva, are incarnations of the Garbhodakashayi Vishnu. From Brahma, the other demigods like Daksha, Marichi, Manu, and many others become incarnated to generate living entities within the universe. This Garbhodakashayi Vishnu is glorified in the Vedas in the hymns of Garbhastuti. which begin with the description of the Lord as having thousands of heads, etc. The Garbhodakshai Vishnu is the Lord of the universe, and although he appears to be lying within the universe, he is always transcendental. This also has already been explained. The Vishnu, who is the plenary portion of the Garbhodakshai Vishnu, is the super soul of the universal life, and he is known as the maintainer of the universe or Kshirodakshai Vishnu. So the three features of the original Purusha are thus understood, and all incarnations within the universe are emanations from this Kshirodakshai Vishnu. In different millennia, there are different incarnations, and they are innumerable, although some of them are very important, such as Matsya, Kurma, Varaha, Rama, Narsimha, Vamana, and many others. These incarnations are called Leela incarnations. Then there are qualitative incarnations such as Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva or Rudra, who take charge of the different modes of material nature. Lord Vishnu is non-different from the personality of Godhead. Lord Shiva is in the marginal position between the personality of Godhead and the living entities or jivas. Brahma is always a jiva tattva. The highest pious living being or the greatest devotee of the Lord is empowered with the potency of the Lord for creation, and he is called Brahma. His power is like the power of the sun reflected in valuable stones and jewels. When there is no such living being to take charge of the post of Brahma, the Lord himself becomes a Brahma and takes charge of the post. Lord Shiva is not an ordinary living being. He is the plenary portion of the Lord, but because Lord Shiva is in direct touch with the material nature, he is not exactly in the same transcendental position as Lord Vishnu. The difference is like that between milk and curd. Curd is nothing but milk, and yet it cannot be used in place of milk. The next incarnations are the Manus. Within 1 day's duration of the life of Brahma, which is calculated by our solar year as 43 lakh into 1000 years, there are 14 Manus. Therefore, there are 420 Manus in 1 month of Brahma and 5040 Manus in 1 year of Brahma. Brahma lives for 100 years of his age, and therefore there are 5040 into 100 or 5,04,000 Manus in the duration of Brahma's life. There are innumerable universes with one Brahma in each of them, and all of them are created and annihilated during the breathing time of the Purusha. Therefore, one can simply imagine how many millions of Manus there are during one breath of the Purusha. The Manus who are prominent within this universe are as follows: Yajna as Swayambhuva Manu, Vibhu as Swarochisha Manu, Satyasena as Uttama Manu, Hari as Tamasa Manu, Vaikuntha as Raivata Manu, Ajita as Chakshusha Manu, Vamana as Vaivasvata Manu. The present age is under the Vaivasvata Manu. Sarvabhauma as Savarani Manu, Rishabha as Daksha Savarani Manu, Vishwakshena as Brahma Savarani Manu, Dharmasetu as Dharma Savarani Manu, Sudhama as Rudra Savarani Manu, Yogeshwara as Deva Savarani Manu, and Brihadbhanu as Indra Savarani Manu. These are the names of one set of 14 Manus covering 4,300 million solar years as described above. Then there are the Yuga Avataras or the incarnations of the millennia. The Yugas are known as Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapar Yuga, and Kali Yuga. The incarnations of each Yuga are of different color. The colors are white, red, black, and yellow. In the Dwapar Yuga, Lord Krishna in black colored appeared, and in Kali Yuga, Lord Chaitanya in yellow color appeared. So all the incarnations of the Lord are mentioned in the revealed scriptures. There is no scope for an impostor to become an incarnation, for an incarnation must be mentioned in the Shastras. An incarnation does not declare himself to be an incarnation of the Lord, but great sages agree by the symptoms mentioned in the revealed scriptures. The features of the incarnation and the particular type of mission which he has to execute are mentioned in the revealed scriptures. Apart from the direct incarnations, there are innumerable empowered incarnations. They are also mentioned in the revealed scriptures. Such incarnations are directly as well as indirectly empowered. When they are directly empowered, they are called incarnations. But when they are indirectly empowered, they are called vibhutis. Directly empowered incarnations are the Kumaras, Narada, Prithu, Shesha, Ananta, etc. As far as vibhutis are concerned, they are very explicitly described in the Bhagavad Gita, in the Vibhuti Yoga chapter. And for all these different types of incarnations, the fountainhead is Garbhodakshai Vishnu. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport. Om Ajnanatimmirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Nitinamine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langhite girim yat kripatamaham vande Shri Gurum Dinitaranam yat kripatamaham vande Shri Chaitanyamishra. Hare Krishna. So today we are discussing the fifth shloka of the third chapter, which is titled as Krishna is the source of all incarnations. The title itself is the summary of the entire chapter, that Krishna is the source of all incarnations. It's just the matter of the number of shlokas which will describe how he is the source of all incarnations. And the canto that we are in is the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, which is titled as Creation. So this particular canto describes about how the creation takes place, what are the different elements of the creation, how those elements come about, how various personalities come into this universe after the creation, what are their roles and responsibilities, and how different incarnations of the Lord come about, how different living entities come into this universe. So all that is explained in this entire canto as such, as the creation. And right now what we are studying is the appearance of different incarnations of the Lord, and what are their leelas. In brief, it is described here in this chapter. And also the purpose of those incarnations, what is the essential purpose. The leela is one, but then there will be an essential purpose of every incarnation to appear. So that also is described in this chapter briefly. And then the rest of the Bhagavatam covers again those incarnations in detail as well. So today's shloka that we are seeing is Etan nana avataranam nidhanam bijam avyayam yasya amsha amshena srijjante devatiryak naradayaha. This form, Etan, that means the Garbhodakshai Vishnu's form, which is described earlier as the Purusha, which is described here in the previous shloka as the Purusha incarnation, the Purusha form of the Lord, or the Sahasrasaya, Pashyantado Abhad Rupam Bhadra Chakshusha Sahasra Padoru Bhujananadbhutam Sahasramurdham Shravanakshinaasikam Sahasra Maulambara Kundalollasat. So it is the Purusha form of the Lord which is described here. And now it is described how this form of the Lord, Etan, this form is the source, Nidhanam, source, and also it is the Bijam Avyayam. It is also the indestructible seed. We, in our general experience, we see that when we sow a seed, that seed, it germinates and then it becomes a tree. The tree will then bear leaves, flowers, fruits. Fruits will again have seeds. And further that seed can germinate and become another tree, another fruit. But then if we go at the root of that original tree and try to find out the seed, what happens? Will we be able to find the seed? That seed would have vanished, isn't it? It has turned into roots, the branch, the tree, correct? In general. So that seed itself is vanished. So we will, in the material experience, all the seeds that are there, they germinate and then they vanish. Their own existence disappears. But this seed, the Purusha, the original Purusha, Garbhodakshai Vishnu, is not that kind of seed which will vanish. Many times we hear people, some of the transcendentalists, some of the so-called spiritualists, they say that the Lord, after he expanded into many, he is no more personally present. He has expanded, and like how we are. And they give an example of a paper. They take paper and they show, see this paper I'm tearing in half. Now there are two amshas of the paper. Further these two amshas I'm tearing again into half. Now there are four amshas of the paper. But where is the original paper? It's gone. Now who is existing? Only the amshas are existing. That is what they give as an analogy. And they say that this is how the Lord also expanded into many and he is not present. He is not there anymore. He has expanded. You are God. Because he has expanded into you now. So we are only God. It is just the matter of realization. That is how they say about it. But Srimad Bhagavatam very clearly, very categorically describes how this understanding is a wrong understanding. This seed, the Supreme Lord, who is the seed, who is the source of all the incarnations, he is what kind of seed? Bijam Avyayam. He is indestructible seed. Even though he has expanded into multifarious incarnations, multiple living entities, innumerable living entities, he has expanded into the elements, he has expanded into universes, he has made the waters of the universe, he is the one who has been the giver of the birth for all the living entities, he still remains eternally. That is the meaning of the transcendental, the Bijam Avyayam, indestructible seed. He is not an ordinary seed. He is an indestructible seed and he is the source of all the incarnations. So that is described here, that this form, Etan, is the source, Nidhanam, and indestructible seed, Bijam, of multifarious incarnations, Nana Avataranam, within the universe. This particular understanding has been given by Srila Prabhupada. The shloka does not say. Shloka says that Etan Nana Avataranam Nidhanam Bijam Avyayam. This form is the source of all the incarnations and is the seed, indestructible seed of all the incarnations. But Srila Prabhupada explains, these incarnations are present within the universe. Outside the universe, there is no point of these incarnations existing. So Prabhupada is bringing about something which is very obvious. He is clearly putting into words here for us to understand. Otherwise, we will think incarnations will exist outside the universe also, here, there also, something time pass they will be doing. No, it is not that sort of thing. They are there within the universe for a certain purpose, for a certain leela. So, this is the specific thing which Srila Prabhupada brings about. From the particles and portions, yasya amsha, particles, and portions, amshena. Like the paper example, there are amshas now, correct, of the paper. The particles and portions of this form, different living entities like demigods and men and others are created. But when that also is happening, this paper is also what sort of paper? Even if you make parts of the paper, the original remains. Now if you make two halves of that paper, original half is also, original full paper is there, two halves are also there. Now you tear that half into further half, the two halves also will remain, another halves also will keep getting created. Okay? That is the kind of the existence of the Lord. Even though He creates so many things, there is nothing that is lost from Him. Even Ishopanishad explains that. Anybody remembers that shloka where it is said that how much ever the division happens, still the original remains. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate. Correct? Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat. From that Purna, what comes about is also Purna. Purnat Purnam Udachyate. Purnasya, that means from that whole, Purnam Adaya. Even if you remove Purna, Purnam Eva Avashishyate. Still that Purna remains as it is. Materially it is inconceivable. Purnasya Purnamadaya. Paper में से पूरा paper फाड़ दो. Entire paper remains as it is. Isn't it? And whatever has come about, those pieces of paper, they are also Purna. It is extremely inconceivable concept. And that is why the transcendentalists, they say that because this is inconceivable, what we are explaining is the truth. Whatever practically we can experience is the truth. It is tore apart, it is different. And when, because you are Purna, who have come from the Lord, that is why you are Lord. Correct? That is why you are the Lord. But here it is told that Purna also comes about. It is qualitatively Purna. Qualities are there, but quantitatively it is not. What it is quantitatively? Yasya amsha amshena. It is an amsha of the amsha of the Lord. So quantitatively it is small, but qualitatively it is Purna. So this understanding is given. So from the particles and portions of this form, yasya amsha amshena, different living entities, adayaha, different living entities like Deva, demigods, men, that is Nara, and others, that is Tiryak, animals, are created. So this is the understanding. This form, the second manifestation of Purusha, is the source and indestructible seed of multifarious incarnations within the universe. From the particles and portions of this form, different living entities like demigods, men, and others are created. So this shloka clearly tells or defies the scientific, so-called scientific understanding that life comes from matter. There are many scientific analysis and theories which tell that life comes from matter. The classic Darwin's theory about life and all, the origin of life, where he talks about it, he tells that the life originated from matter. It was just some chemicals or amino acids and all, they came together and then they started acting, and then it slowly started developing, and it developed certain intelligence, and then it started expanding, it developed, and then for surviving into the, in certain circumstances, it started developing its own certain qualities, certain nature, and that's how it started dividing, and today we see so many different varieties of living beings. But whereas it is clearly told here that all the living entities are created simultaneously. Deva, Tiryan, Nara, Adayaha. They are all created by the Lord. Deva, the demigods are also created. Tiryak, all the animals, they are also created. Nara, they are also created, and all other species are everybody created by the Lord. Nothing is appearing on its own or by its own selection that they are going and creating different types of bodies. or different types of species, sorry, not the bodies, species. That is not the case. The species are already created by the Lord. It is just that the living entity, based on its desire, it goes into those species, and based on its karma and other activities, it takes up certain body in that species. That is how the living entity comes about. So the so-called scientific theory that life comes from matter is completely negated here, and it is very emphatically described that the Lord, this particular form of the Lord is the Nidhanam and Avyaya Bija of all the living entities. So Prabhupada in the purport, he talks about how this Purusha, he creates this universe, the Garbhodakshayi Vishnu. When the Garbhodakshayi Vishnu, he creates this particular universe, he enters into the universe, and because the universe is just a bubble, he fills that universe half with the water from his own perspiration. And then he lies down on that water, and from his navel comes the lotus stem, and on top of that lotus is where Brahma appears. So Brahma also appears. It is not a biological birth that Brahma gets. And then Brahma also creates so many progenies further. That is also not biological progeny. It is from his meditation, by the blessings of the Lord, he meditates, and then those different Prajapatis, Kumaras, from the next shloka onwards we will see, there is description of Kumaras and others, how they have appeared. They have just manifested from different feelings, different expressions, different body parts of Brahma. So that is how these all living entities have appeared, who are Prajapatis, or who are the primary living entities of this universe, and who have further responsibility of increasing the progeny, increasing the population within the universe, so that other living entities can get a chance to come to that particular universe. Okay? So that is about the Garbhodakshayi Vishnu. And then Prabhupada comes to the existence of Brahma, Shiva and Vishnu. Now this Garbhodakshayi Vishnu, for the purpose of maintaining the universe, which Brahma is creating now, he has started creating, he himself expands further as another Vishnu, the third Vishnu. And that Vishnu is called as Kshirodakshayi Vishnu. Correct? So within this universe there is a planet which has ocean of milk. That is the Dhruva planet, which we say, the pole star. Correct? That Dhruva planet has an ocean of milk. Just like here we have ocean of salt water. It is not water, it is salt water. It is salty ocean. It's not just water. So here we have ocean of salt water. There the ocean is of milk. And in that ocean, the Kshirodakshayi Vishnu resides. And he, in turn from him, the different incarnations of the Lord come about. And the different incarnations, why they come about? Because they want to maintain the order of this universe. And these different incarnations take charge of different functions of this universe, and they help this universe to be maintained. Okay? So that is the position of the Vishnu, Kshirodakshayi Vishnu within the universe. Brahma, he is the engineer of this particular universe, and Lord Shiva, who is another expansion of Lord or incarnation of the Lord, for the purpose of interacting with the material nature, he comes as Lord Shiva. Lord Vishnu's incarnation for the purpose of interacting with the material universe. Interacting means what? It is for the purpose of either destroying the universe or for the purpose of putting different living entities into the universe. See, we are all Amsha of the Lord. Correct? He is the original Bija, he is the source of all of us. Now he has to plant us somewhere. He has to put us somewhere. In one of the species which has been created by Brahma, and he has to put us into a situation based on our past karmas, based on what we are supposed to go through as happiness and distress. So he has to interact with the material nature. Why that interaction is required? Because unless you have a material body, you will not be able to perform your activities within this material world. So for putting a living entity into material body, there has to be certain material interaction which has to happen. And for that reason, Lord Vishnu takes a different incarnation which is called as Lord Shiva. And that Lord Shiva, in the Linga Swarupa, he interacts with the Prakriti. And he impregnates the Prakriti with Jivas. Okay, so that is how the Jivas come into this universe. And that is why Shiva and Parvati are called as the original father and mother of this universe. Because all the living entities come into this universe through them. And that is why Lord Shiva's depiction is that of the Linga and the Yoni feature below it. So that is how it is described. And that Lord Shiva is also responsible for the destruction of this universe. Whereas Vishnu, he is aloof from the universe but still maintaining the universe. That is what is Vishnu's role. And then Prabhupada describes that very specific word Prabhupada has used here. Brahma was generated from Rajoguna of Prakriti. So Lord Brahma, who appears on the lotus flower, he is generated from the Rajoguna of the Prakriti. Whereas the other two words used for Vishnu and Shiva, what are those words used by Prabhupada? Vishnu became the Lord of mode of goodness. That means Vishnu has taken the responsibility of mode of goodness. Lord of mode of goodness. And then he says for Shiva, where it was in the statement. From Brahma there is Rudra Shiva who is in charge of the mode of ignorance or darkness. So Vishnu, he became the Lord of the goodness. He himself became, correct? It is not that he is in charge. In charge matlab kya hota hai? Somebody has given you the charge, isn't it? Whereas Shiva is in charge of the mode of goodness, mode of ignorance. So Shiva has been given the charge of ignorance. Vishnu became the Lord of goodness, and Brahma was born out of Rajoguna. There is a difference in all three. We say that Vishnu, we sometimes devotees think that Vishnu is representation of, or he comes from Sattva-guna, Shiva comes from Tamoguna, and Brahma comes from Rajoguna. It is not like that. There is a stark difference between these three. Brahma, he originates from Rajoguna. His birth is from Rajoguna. Vishnu became the Lord of Sattva-guna, mode of goodness, and Shiva has been made the in charge of Rajoguna, Tamoguna. Correct? So Shiva, although he is an incarnation, but he has been empowered by the Lord Vishnu himself to take charge of the Tamoguna or the Tamoguna entities. So many times people, general materialistic people, they think that Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva are on the same platform. That is not the case. Vishnu is always the origin of all these. Correct? Not only the other incarnations, but of Brahma and Shiva also. So that is the first paragraph which Prabhupada talks about, and how Garbhodakshai Vishnu is the super soul of the universe, and he is known as the maintainer of the universe. And the Shirodakshai Vishnu, he himself appears as different incarnations within this universe, and he also appears as Paramatma within our heart, within the heart of every living entity. The Paramatma is expansion of Shirodakshai Vishnu. So that is how Shirodakshai Vishnu takes charge of this. He became the Lord of the goodness, and he maintains this entire universe. Then Prabhupada describes about different millennium, there are different incarnations. Correct? Like Matsya, Kurma, Varaha, Narsimha, Vamana, and many others. And these incarnations are called Leela Avataras. So up to Shirodakshai Vishnu, it is Purusha Avataras. That is Karanodakshai Vishnu, Garbhodakshai Vishnu, Shirodakshai Vishnu. They are called Purusha Avatara. And then there are Guna Avataras. Brahma, Shiva, and another Vishnu. That is this. Shirodakshai Vishnu is also comes under the Guna Avatara category. So There is Purusha Avatara, then Guna Avatara, now comes Leela Avatara. For specific Leela, for specific pastime, for specific function, Lord comes and he is called as Leela Avatara. Matsya Avatar, we know the Matsya Leela. Kurma Avatar, we know of Kurma Avatar Leela. This Mahakumbh tells us about that, correct? Where Kurma became the support of the Mandara mountain, which was used as the churning rod. So that Kurma Avatara. Then Varaha Avatara, Rama, Narsimha, Vamana, Buddha, Kalki, correct? These all avatars, they are Leela avatars. They come for a specific Leela. And then there are, then Prabhupada comes to telling us that how Lord Shiva, Lord Brahma and Lord Vishnu, what is again further one more difference between them. It is told that Lord Brahma is the Jiva Tattva, whereas Shiva is not Jiva Tattva, he is Tatastha Tattva, he is the Tatastha Shakti. Not Tatastha Shakti, but he is the empowered and he has a position between the God, between the Supreme Personality of Godhead and living beings. So Shiva is greater than Brahma in one sense, because he is himself the incarnation of the Lord, but not a living entity like Brahma. Okay? And not a living entity like all of us also. So he is Lord himself, but for a specific function. Okay? Whereas Brahma is a Jiva Tattva. And here it is told, the highest pious living being or the greatest devotee of the Lord is empowered with the potency of the Lord for creation. And he is called Brahma. So, Brahma is a Jiva who is either highest pious living being, बहुत piety है उनमें, so because of that he has been appointed as Brahma, or if there is no living entity with such great piety, highest piety available in that universe, then Lord appoints one of his devotees as Brahma. Or if either case there is no availability of the devotee also for that universe or of a highest pious living being, then Lord himself takes that position of Brahma also. That also happens. And fortunately, the Brahma of our universe is a pure devotee. Srila Prabhupada tells in one place that our Brahma is a pure devotee of the Lord. And that is why he offers such wonderful Brahma Samhita prayers to the Lord himself. So that is the understanding of Brahma, Shiva and Vishnu. And then Prabhupada talks about Manus, different incarnations, Manvantara avataras. So Manus, they different Manus who come and they become the progenitors of the human species. That is why we are called Manushya. Manushya means we are coming from Manu. And that's where the word, English word man also comes from. It comes from Manu. So actually it is the origin is Manu. And then he describes how Brahma's life is such a huge, such a vast life in comparison to ours. And so many Manus appear in his life. And so many Manus, when they come, their names are also given. And during these, each Manvantara, each Manu's avatar, different incarnations appear and perform different Leelas also. Then Prabhupada goes further and he talks about Yuga avatars. In every Manu's life, there are set of Yugas. And in every Yuga also Lord appears. And he appears in 4 colors. It is described here. The colors are white, red, black and yellow. Correct? In Dwapar Yuga, Lord Krishna appeared in black, and in Kali Yuga, he has appeared in yellow in the form of Lord Chaitanya. Correct? So that is there Prabhupada talks about Yuga avatars. And then Prabhupada mentions a very important factor. Somebody may say that there are unlimited incarnations, anyways, unlimited avatars of the Lord. I can also declare myself as an avatara. There are many people who declare like that. They say, I am only God. There is one in South India, somebody who tells that I am Kalki. Whereas Kalki is supposed to come at the end of Kali Yuga. And where he is supposed to appear is told. This in UP we hear, no, nowadays there is a lot of commotion going on in one district. Sambal. That is the place where Kalki is supposed to appear. Whereas this Kalki, so-called Kalki, has appeared in South India. Wrong coordinates. Google मैप ने कहीं और छोड़ दिया उनको. संभल जाने के बजाय कहीं और पहुंच के. So, Shastras have specifically told the descriptions of the incarnations, their particular activities, where they will appear, how they will appear, everything has been described. And then it is confirmed by various acharyas also, various saintly persons also, they agree, the great sages agree by the symptoms mentioned in the revealed scriptures. So it is not that I declare myself to be an incarnation, it is specifically told here. An incarnation does not declare himself to be an incarnation of the Lord. It is mentioned in the scriptures and it has to be corroborated by different sages. Great sages also have to tell. Great sages does not mean the tapasvis we see here and there. Great sages like Vyasadeva has to confirm. Correct? That level of sages have to confirm that yes, this is an incarnation. It's not you, me and others who can tell that okay, this is an incarnation. Yes, we cannot certify like that. Isn't it? So this is mentioned that incarnations, if we have to accept anybody as incarnation, his features, his symptoms, his activities are mentioned in the revealed scriptures. We have to refer and corroborate with that and check whether this is really an incarnation or not. Only then we should go. And then apart from the direct incarnations, there are innumerable empowered incarnations. They are also mentioned in the revealed scriptures. Innumerable incarnations, but every incarnation has been mentioned in the scriptures. There is no incarnation of the Lord which can appear and there is no mention of that incarnation anywhere. There is no such case. Every incarnation is mentioned in the revealed scriptures. And then there are vibhutis, there are different personalities who are empowered by the Lord. Like in Srimad Bhagavad Gita it is mentioned how different personalities, how different elements also are empowered by the Lord. Correct? He says that among the birds, I am Vainateya. Correct? Among the mountains, I am Himalaya. So like that Krishna describes how all his different vibhutis are there. And some of the vibhutis are Kumaras, that is 4 Kumaras, Sanak, Sanatan, Sanandan and Sanat Kumar. And then Narad Muni is an vibhuti, he is an empowered incarnation. He has been specially empowered by the Lord. And then there is Prithu Maharaj, Ananta Shesha. These are the vibhutis of the Lord and they are empowered by the Lord specifically. But for all these different types of incarnations, the fountainhead is Garbhodakshayi Vishnu. Yasyam Shamshena Srijjante. They all come from the Amsha or Amsha of the Amsha of whom? Yasya Amsha Amshena. That means of the Garbhodakshayi Vishnu. Even in the, after this, now from next shloka onwards, there will be description of different incarnations. Vibhutis, Yuga-avtaras, Leela-avtaras, all those will be described here. And at the end again, it is mentioned that, yes, what is it? Yasya, no, not about that, the shloka. Yasya kalaha pumsa. Etecha amsha kalaha pumsa, yes. Yetecha amsha Kalaha Pumsa Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. Even further in this shloka it is told that Garbhodakshayi Vishnu or Shirodakshayi Vishnu is the origin of the incarnations, the source. But ultimately it is Lord Krishna himself who is the form. Etecha Amsha Kalaha Pumsa Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. Krishna is the Bhagavan Swayam. The Supreme Lord is Krishna, none other than Krishna. So that will be described in the further shlokas. And we'll get an understanding of how Krishna is the source of all incarnations, which is the title of this chapter. So we'll stop here for today. If anybody has any points to add or any questions, we can take up for a few minutes. It's already 9. Role of Adi Shakti. Adi Shakti is the energy of the Lord and she facilitates all the jivas with different energies required for the jivas to function. See, we as Amsha of the Lord take the role of Purusha in this material universe. Purusha means one who wants to enjoy. One who can enjoy or one who is the enjoyer is called Purusha. And Prakriti is the one who is engaged or used or exploited for enjoyment. Prakriti or Shakti. Actually, the Shakti is supposed to be servant of the Supreme Lord and is supposed to serve in the enjoyment of the Lord. But when we living entities, when we rebel with the Lord and we come to this universe, we also require certain Shakti. Without that Shakti, we cannot function in this universe. We also require Shakti to enjoy. Without that Shakti being available with us, we cannot enjoy. Cannot function, cannot enjoy. So Adi Shakti, just like Lord has expanded into different amshas and amshas of amshas, into living entities and everybody, similarly, the Adi Shakti, Shrimati Radharani, she expands into different Lakshmi Tattvas, into different Durga Tattvas, and then into Shakti Tattvas, different Shakti Tattvas. And she keeps providing different Shaktis to us. Whether it is a man or woman, whether we are in a male body or a female body, we require Shakti. Correct? Because whether we are in a male body or a female body, we have come to this world to enjoy like the Purusha. So our nature within the world, our intentions within the world are that of Purusha. And for our enjoyment, for our functioning here, we require Shakti. So Shakti is meant for facilitating the different functions of the living entities within this world. And that is why Shakti can be available in different forms. Different forms as per the desire of the living entity. He can work, he can do tapasya, he can perform different rituals, and he can obtain the Shaktis. That is why all the Shaktis, all the energies, they are in feminine form always. Always in feminine form. None of the Shaktis are in masculine form. They are always in feminine form because originally they are all supposed to serve the original Purusha. All the Shaktis. So that is how it is the presence of the Adi Shakti and the different incarnations of the Shakti. That is why side by side there are different incarnations. When Shiva appears, there is Parvati. Durga or Parvati, she is also present immediately for the Lord to perform his functions. So that's how the Adi Shakti's presence is. Yes.
One point left that Lord Shiva is direct touch with material nature. He is not exactly in the same transcendental position as Lord
Vishnu.
If Lord Shiva is a direct incarnation of Lord Vishnu, then how he loses his transcendental nature? What is the meaning of material nature direct touch?
He does not lose his transcendental nature, but for the specific function, he takes up that role. Just to interact with the material nature, he takes up that role. In this particular purport, it is described about the curd. That curd example also is given here. Correct? So, it is in the Brahma Samhita also it is told, that shloka which describes about Shiva. Correct? It is told that it is like milk turned into curd. There is a certain function of curd, correct, which cannot be performed by milk. In the material example, the function which curd performs, like by taking milk, sometimes we get, stomach becomes upset. Those who have this, milk, this thing they have, no? Lactose intolerance they have. So because of lactose intolerance, sometimes the stomach becomes upset. Then they are advised to take curd, so that this intolerance is taken care of. Correct? It is avoided. So similarly, the Lord, when he wants to interact with the material nature, he takes up a form of Lord Shiva, which is not like his original form of Vishnu. He is not Vishnu Tattva anymore. He becomes Shiva Tattva, and through Shiva Tattva, he interacts with the material nature directly. So he is transcendental, but he is not like Lord Vishnu. He does not lose his transcendental nature. He is transcendental, but he is not like Lord Vishnu. There is some change. And with that change, that facilitation of interacting with the material nature is facilitated. So, interacting means putting the living entities into the material world. Just like a husband puts a seed into the wife. There is a technical explanation of the semen going into the ovum, and then further it fructifies and all these things happen. So that is the material interaction between the two. Correct? So similarly, Lord Shiva, he interacts with the material nature to impregnate the jivas into the material nature. And eventually he has to destroy this material nature also. So he also becomes part of the material, he interacts with the material nature to destroy it also. So he is thickly involved in the material aspects. Whereas when Lord Krishna comes or Lord Vishnu's any of the incarnations come, they may seem to be interacting like ordinary materialistic activities and all, but their activities are transcendental and he is completely untouched by all those things. Fully untouched. So material things won't affect the Lord. Okay. Whereas when Lord Shiva is in direct touch, there is certain material influence upon him also. So that is what is the difference between the Lord and Lord Shiva. That is how it comes about. Yes, Mataji. Sorry. Yes, Prabhu.
You said that Lord Shiva is there to bring the living entities into the material world. So, what about the pious souls, who comes into material through proper samskara? Are also these brought to Shiva, or we are a different?
See, when we talk about Lord Shiva bringing the souls into this world, it is en masse bringing into the universe. It is not each and everything for particular, every jiva, Shiva and Parvati have to interact. That is not, it's not like that. The principle is the Lord Vishnu in form of Lord Shiva interacts with the material nature, Prakriti, and he facilitates the jivas to come into this world. Different jivas. So different jivas come through different yonis into this world. Okay? But the facilitation is done by Lord Shiva and Prakriti. So, it is told that the jivas, the souls, they come from raindrops. They fall onto the earth, then they enter into the grains, and from grains it comes into the food. As food it comes into the body, and from body it goes into the semen, and from semen it goes into the egg of the female gender, and from there it further germinates and becomes another living being. Correct? So this is the material biological process, but that process itself is facilitated by Shiva and Parvati. Whether it is pious or impious souls. Pious souls will have a pious way of coming into the world. Impious souls will come in very different ways into this world. Mataji, you had something to say? Yes, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Yes. 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 So in every universe there is Brahma and Shiva, but the Shiva is a tattva and he is common to all the universes also. It is not independently different Shiva. Whereas Brahmas are different, they are jivas. Shiva is not a jiva. So Shiva, you will find Lord Shiva having a independent existence also apart from all the universes. All the universes, they as a cloud, they are just a cloud in the entire existence. It is just a small cloud. And at the outside that cloud is actually Lord Shiva as Sadashiva existing separately. And he incarnates into, again, expands into different Shivas within the universes. So Shiva is a different tattva altogether. That is what Prabhupada was telling here. Whereas Brahma is a jiva like any of us. And he is different, each of the Brahmas are different in different universes. Whereas Shiva is the common personality, just like Vishnu is a common personality. He only expands. Correct? Shiva also expands. But Brahma is not that. Brahma is a different jiva who is given that responsibility in different universes. Okay.
At the time of annihilation, when Mahavishnu inhales again and all the universes enter into him again, then Shiva also enters. So what is like?
Yeah, Shiva is an expansion, no? Is an incarnation. It can be wound up. Again it is present. Whenever the next breathing cycle comes of Vishnu, again Shiva is also present. So these are all creationary elements personalities who are present in every creation. At every breath of Vishnu, they will appear, universes will appear, and when inhalation happens, all of them will go inside. Only thing is, all the jivas, they go into hibernation at the breath of Vishnu, inhalation of Vishnu. The jivas will be present, but they will be in hibernation stage. Again, at the next exhalation, again they will come into existence in different universes. Whereas Shiva, that incarnation is wound up, and again that expansion or incarnation happens. So it is winding up and again presenting. That's all. Okay. So we'll stop here. Grantharaj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol.